Hello everyone, how's everybody this week? Oh, okay, finally my camera worked. So, hey everyone, finally got my face cam back on, and yeah, it's pretty cool. But anyway, there's a lot I want to talk about this week, particularly with what Epic's doing, and that whole kind of shebang. So, let's just hop into the news, shall we? Now, first, I'd like to talk about Fortnite's Among Us mode, and basically how it essentially just stole from Among Us. Now, of course, games can get inspired by others, and they can take elements from another game and transform it in some way. This is seen within the Battle Royale scene. PUBG kind of iterated on H1Z1, not as much though, but it was a hardcore military simulator shooter, give or take, kind of. And then you look at Fortnite, they added building and it changes complete dynamic of the game. Apex Legends added, a ton of movement options and character-based battle royale style stuff. And so basically, there's a lot of things that these battle royales change in order to be different from their other competitors, and it's not a complete ripoff. Now, if Epic made a Mafia style game and it's like very similar to Among Us, I mean, what can you do? It's just, Mafia has been around for a while, and it just, it's whatever. But here's the fact of the matter. If you look at any gameplay of Among Us, or Fortnite Among Us, it's not, inspired. It's literally a ripoff. So, actually, let me just show you some gameplay to give you an idea of what I'm talking about. So, first, I'd like to just show you just general gameplay from Allie because I haven't been able to quite get the footage. But basically, here's just what the imposters mode of Among Us looks like.
Characters line up. Complete assignments, beware.
And so when you first begin the game, it says complete assignments, beware the two imposters if you're an agent or a crew member in Among Us.
The two imposters. All right, so we can see all of the assignments on screen here. I'm gonna fire my way over to the yellow assignments. Okay, he's doing a mission there. I like it. I trust that. I'm gonna do this whilst looking this way, just so I can see people if they come in to try.
And so basically, as you can see, assignments are done when they're given out, and there's multiple steps to some of them. And yeah, basically, this is, the general gameplay loop of the Fortnite Among Us mode, which is similar to Among Us.
And stab me. Mini Minter. Okay.
And then, let's just jump ahead a little bit.
Okay, he's definitely doing a...
Now, of course, in the Among Us mode, or in Among Us, there are sabotages that you can do, such as turning off the lights, turning off communications, and like a few other things. And now, of course, Fortnite didn't go completely one-to-one, but some of the things are very similar, if not, close to one-to-one.
Mission. I'm sus of Elam, bro. I'm sus of Elam.
So, here's a good example. Peely Party. Basically, everybody's disguised for 29 seconds, and unless you remember exactly who's who, there's no way you're going to be able to tell who assassinated who. And it's very similar to Lights, and really the only way you see anybody actually perform a kill in Lights is if you're on top of each other, but even then, it's kind of hard to determine, who killed who under the circumstances. And if we move up ahead... Oh, I swear I forgot where this is going, or where this thing is.
Yeah. I'm just gonna go with no. I've had a suspicion that he,
And so then another thing, there's the voting off thing, but that's really any Mafia game, so, I'm not gonna look into that too hard.
Vic seems very, very keen on...
So then there's the assignments offline, and then you have to fix, essentially, I think, a few panel boards.
Like, not voting anyone off.
No beans is down.
And so basically, this is kind of like communications, the sabotaging communications, and yeah, so basically, it's, very much like Among Us, and it's just kind of, it's kind of scummy that Epic had taken it from Among Us and essentially just put it into their own game. So, from basically just looking at like a surface level of the game, yeah, it's basically looking like just like Fortnite Among Us, and yeah, basically, I just don't think that's a good thing. Now, obviously, if Epic made their, own Mafia mode, and it was inspired by Among Us, I mean, that's fine, that's whatever, but, like, they didn't quite just, take some elements and then, added their own. Sure, you could say the, sabotage options are different, and the Fortnite, mood is a little different than the Among Us mode, where, it's a little bit more serious, kind of. Even then, it's still not, that serious. But they didn't really change the gameplay. Sure, they added a few different things, but, it's not that different. It'd be like essentially Valorant making, using the movement and shooting mechanics of a CSGO, but then not adding anything different. At the very least, Valorant has its own, characters, and the characters have their own specific abilities, while in CS, everybody's literally the same. The only difference is, whether or not you got maybe, different skin on, amongst the, 5 different terrorists or counter-terrorists. But, in CSGO and Valorant, there is at least some difference to differentiate the two games. However, Fortnite Among Us and the Among Us game, there really isn't many differences. Sure, the only thing that's different, at least from what I can see, is that the sabotages are different, but even then they functionally do the same thing. The Peely party is kind of like lights, and communications is the assignments down. So what do I basically think? It's scummy. I think it's bad, and I definitely think that if Epic wanted to make their own Among Us mode, that's fine. But you can't just be copying it from an indie dev team. I'm not saying you should ever copy, from a AAA publisher or anything. But this is an indie dev game, and it's just like, come on, guys, you can do better than that. Especially when you're talking about how we're the little guy compared to Apple and Google. Don't give me that crap. If you're gonna say that, then you shouldn't be doing this. Now, if they never said we're the little guy, then you know what? It's whatever. I guess you can do it because you have no morals. But I think this is just wrong. But let me know what you think in the comments. Up next, I want to talk about Boyfriend Dungeon and how it's thrown into another controversy, but not because the game did anything wrong this time, at least as far as I'm aware. Basically, the voice actor for one of the characters is getting sent death threats because the character has a stalker storyline and a few other dubious things that happen within the storyline. And I get it, it's a messy topic, and some people don't want to, look at it. I get that, but don't send death threats to the people, that voice the character and whatnot. Because, I fully and wholeheartedly understand that the topic's very controversial for obvious reasons. And if the developers handle this poorly, I get then, not even harassing, but, just talking about, oh, you handled this poorly, you should have done a better job talking about this, storyline. I get it. But they sent out death threats to the voice actor, they sent death threats to the team, and it's just like, guys, stop. You're not going to change anything by doing that. And for that matter, you make some people double down, essentially. Now, of course, some people will change and they'll maybe remove it, but as far as I'm aware, the stance for Boyfriend Dungeon on this topic is that they're going to keep it, obviously, and multiple people have said it's handled well, and it's just, there is just a stalker storyline. And, if this was handled poorly, as I said before, I'd get it, but don't send death threats first off ever. Never. That's just don't. You're a psycho if you do. And second off, I think they have a right to talk about something, really tough, like stalking, which is a prominent, harassment tactic that is used in relationships, and even not even among some relationships, just, strangers. So, as long as they handle it well, I think it should be in the game, right? But if they're, like, glorifying stalking, then yeah, get rid of it. It's bad, but they didn't. And don't send death threats. That's basically all I'm saying here. So, next story I want to talk about. Millions of players later, Outrider devs still waiting for money. And, yeah, this is bad. Now, of course, if the game's so poorly, I get how they wouldn't be making money, but let's first look at it. By the numbers, Outriders is one of the year's big success stories, and yet developer People Can Fly apparently haven't received any royalties from Square Enix, the looter shooter's publisher. And so, it's sold quite a bit. If you look at, just by sheer player numbers, it was #1 on Xbox Game Pass, and it was the second most popular game within a week later. And if you look at the player numbers, 3.5 million played the game over the first month. We're not sure how many was Game Pass, but, if it was the first most popular and then second most popular, a lot of people played it, and probably a lot of people bought it too, right? Now, this seems to be a common trend with Square Enix in setting very high expectations for games that are unreachable. Now, let's first take a look at IO Interactive's Hitman series. For years, Square Enix published everybody's favorite spy murder sim, but following the release of the 2016 reboot, IO successfully pulled off a management buyout, meaning it essentially went indie. At the end of its 2017 fiscal year, Square Enix noted an extraordinarily loss of nearly 5 billion yen in regards to IO Interactive and withdrew from the Danish studio. And then within the first week of Hitman 3 being released, it made its money back, and it probably just made even more money after that first week. You know, people still buy it after it comes out. Then there's the 2013 reboot of Tomb Raider, and that sold 30.4 million copies within its first month. And, you know, even though it was the highest for its franchise, it fell short of the publisher expectations, and according to GameIndustry.biz, Tomb Raider went on to sell more than 11 million copies. That's a lot of, you know, copies. That's like half of Mario Kart DS and like a third of Mario Kart Wii. And those games, you know, were extraordinarily, like, really well, you know, in terms of sales. And even Square Enix said we had very high expectations for Tomb Raider. Looking back on it now, I think we set a target that was extremely high. And we have the entire sales tail of the Outriders game ahead of us. We look forward to further promotional efforts on the publisher side. Despite this disappointing news, we believe that the first royalties from Outriders sales will come this year. And this is like guys, I get that you want to make the next multi-million player game, but come on. When you have like 3.5 million people playing the game, that's a lot of people. You know, I don't get how you have that high of an expectation that a new game, something that's unproven, can sell that well. You know, and so, you know, you should, Square Enix, pay the Outrider devs. They made a pretty good game overall. Sure, they had a few hiccups here and there. There's some bugs that, you know, broke the game here and there. You sometimes lost your progression, and I get that, but come on. You can't just not be paying them. Especially if, you know, they've hit like a million mark, you should definitely start paying them. Because that's a lot of money. Especially since it was $60. You know, so you get like $60 million from that, and then you also get the Game Pass royalties, you know, whoever buys it, like, really? But, you know, basically Square Enix pay them and stop having such high expectations of games that, you know, are the first to come out. So, yeah. Moral of the story, essentially. So next up, I want to talk about Halo Infinite and how it's not going to ship with the campaign co-op or Forge at launch. And so I haven't been really into the Halo series. I've played, you know, some of its games, though, because it came to PC, but I don't really have the nostalgia factor as much as some other people. Now, I do have friends that do really like the games, and, you know, the Forge, campaign co-op, those were essential to the game. Now, Forge, it's complicated, right? Making maps, it's very complicated. So I understand that 343 Industries can't launch Forge at launch. You know, this got to take some time. You know, they want to iron out all the bugs. So I get that. But the campaign co-op, oh yeah, that's not good. I know a ton of people, particularly those that grew up with Halo. They, you know, played the shit out of co-op with each other, and then also play the multiplayer. And so, as SkillUp says here, I can wait for Forge since 343 maps will last us a while, but campaign co-op in that launch period where people are experiencing for the first time was one of the things I was most looking forward to. Now, of course, that doesn't mean that when they've released the game, there's going to be, you know, like nobody's going to play the campaign co-op, but yeah, I definitely think that the campaign co-op was a really big factor in the previous games. And there are some people that will play Halo only for its co-op, or its story, and so they kind of lose a market until the campaign co-op comes out. Now, if it was only Forge doesn't come out at launch, people are still going to buy the game. They're still going to play the multiplayer. No doubt about it. I have literally zero doubts about it. But campaign co-op, people are going to probably hold off, and then they'll buy it when it's on sale, and you kind of lose some money on that, I think. So, again, this isn't, you know, something completely detrimental, but I just think it's a little disappointing, particularly since, you know, this game has been delayed a lot. But, you know, if you can't add a mode until later, you shouldn't, because otherwise the game will just, you know, hurt more. At the very least, if you say this mode is coming eventually, people can hold out and wait, and they'd be more than willing to. So 343, you know, get the game done, and then you can ship out the rest of these modes, basically. Next thing on the list, Bethesda's boss, Todd Howard, says millions of people play every month Skyrim, and that's why Bethesda will keep releasing it. And yeah, okay. you guys, you don't... So, what do I think? I mean, it's great that a game still has people playing it, but how many of those people are playing with mods? And how many of those are actually playing on console, right? Of course, I'm not saying that the game, because it's old, that people can't play it, but I just feel like there are a lot better games out there. At least in terms of, open world games. Like the Outer Worlds, I think, that's a great Fallout Las Vegas inspired game. And I don't know. There's just a lot of more games you could play, I think, but I'm not one to judge. If you want to continue playing Skyrim, go ahead. I just don't know if you should be, constantly purchasing it for the new consoles and whatnot. Unless your old console breaks. In that case, I guess. Or you should really get it on sale. Now, that's just me, of course, but I find this very interesting. That's probably why, for a while, The Elder Scrolls 6, only just got announced recently, and, yeah. It's cool and interesting to see that a game is still being supported and also being played, but come on, guys. There's a lot better games out there that you could play now. Just say. Up next on the PC Master Race. PC is important, but Sony doesn't want to annoy its core fan base, and I mean, I get why people get mad when games come to PC, particularly with the Sony fan base, and it's because, the games stop being exclusive, so why do you have a console? Now, of course, if this was, new games coming out as soon as the PS4, PS5 edition comes on PC, I get that, but recently with Horizon Zero Dawn, Days Gone, and, even what's assumed to be Uncharted 4, I think, during one of their press conferences, or was it it was one of their conferences where they said, yeah, we're going to put some legacy games on there, Uncharted 4 being one of them. And so I get why people are somewhat mad, but it's not like, what Microsoft's doing. But even then, Microsoft owns, Windows and PC, so of course they're going to put the games everywhere so that they can make more money. And so, I don't know. People are petty for, an obscene amount of reasons, and I think this is one of them. But, that's my thought on it. Next up on the list, there's going to be a new Saints Row game. I don't know exactly what kind of direction they're going to take it, if it's going to be like 1 and 2, or if it's going to be like 3 and 4. So, for context, Saints Row 1 and 2 was more akin to like GTA, and it was more serious. There was a few character deaths, I think, in the second game, and, it had a huge impact on the story. And it was much more serious. But then you get to Saints Row 3 and 4, and it's not bad that they changed direction, but it was kind of, at least Saints Row 3 was kind of poorly done. It wasn't as good. But Saints Row 3 was a little more goofy, and then Saints Row 4 was literally about aliens and basically being taken away by them, and it's a whole storyline, right? And so I wonder what this next Saints Row game is going to do. I know they had a spin-off title, and I think that did okay. So, I don't know. They might go either with the Saints Row 4 approach, or they might go back to its roots in Saints Row 1 and 2, but maybe, keep some of its goofy aspects while keeping a very serious storyline. I don't know. But we'll see whether or not the Saints Row game, disappoints fans, or if it, riles up the fan base again. Next up, they're adding a Leon Kennedy skin in Rainbow Six Siege, and I don't know why Capcom's suddenly giving out their titles, or giving out the rights to Resident Evil to multiple game companies. For context, Dead by Daylight has a Resident Evil expansion with Leon Kennedy and Nemesis. I forget who the other survivor is, but basically, yeah. It seems like they're sending out, the ability for people to make, skins in this case, or, content based around the Resident Evil series, and so it's kind of interesting. I wonder what Capcom's going to do next. Maybe a Mega Man tie-over in another game. Who knows? So even people are playing Oblivion to death. So, for my final topic, I want to talk about something that is pretty harmful and pretty impactful currently right now, and it's the Twitch hate raids. And I first want to start out with somebody named Super Butter Buns. I love her content. You should go check her out. But so, basically, yeah. Do the folks who send and participate in hate harassment raids to marginalized streamers know that they are outing themselves as the most deprived, embarrassing, sad sacks to all of Twitch? And yeah, they basically are, in my opinion. I just, I think that Twitch should do better. Now, basically, yeah, Twitch streamers are organizing a day off Twitch in protest of the hate raids, and essentially, stop them from, or at least try to bring to attention hate raids that are conducted on Twitch. And if I remember correctly, there's at least some prominent examples, like Kaide was hit with a hate raid, and she literally had to get off air because it was really harming her mental health. Unfortunately, that's the only one I think I know of. But so, yeah, this is kind of just shitty. Twitch should do a little bit better of a job, I think. Now, of course, it is really hard, but, it's it should, you should try to protect your content creators. That's how you make your money. And with Twitch kind of, not seeming to do much about it, or, at least not try to attempt to do anything, it just seems like they don't care. And so how do you hurt them? Hurt them in the wallet. You don't stream, they don't make money. And so, yeah. Basically, I think that Twitch should essentially have some tools in there that help and protect against hate raids. Now, before we get into, but the people have tools that can help them manage against hate raids, one of them being, banning certain words, but I'll link this tweet in the description, but basically, yeah, that's not possible, especially with the bots being unable to, check every single message very quickly. They can only do 100 per 30 seconds. Yeah, it's just not enough. And so, basically, even with the tools that Twitch gives you, it's not enough. Particularly when there's a hate raid going on, there's no way you'd be able to stop it. And so, Twitch needs to do something about it if they want to, keep their content creators protected and not completely harassed out the wazoo. And so, basically, what I'm saying is Twitch, do better, please. So, that's the end of this week's gaming news. It was kind of, interesting, particularly with Epic taking a Fortnite Among Us mode, and Outrider devs not getting paid, and then Twitch seemingly doing nothing about the hate raids that are suddenly going on. And I'm just tired, honestly. I just wish that people would stop being asses, and developers would also stop being asses, so on and so forth. It's just a constant cycle of, I'm disappointed in the group of people that are here, and I can't do anything about it. But, and so basically, all I'm saying is that, you should be nice, you shouldn't steal people's ideas, you should also not hate people for no apparent reason, you shouldn't be sending death threats, you shouldn't be doing this, that, and just, it's so complicated, but it's so simple at the same time, just be a good person. But, so, basically all I'm saying is, stay safe out there, don't do crimes, don't do, anything that would harm people, and, yeah, that's basically it. But, anyway, I'll see you guys later, stay safe, everyone.